Interest rate cuts. What does this mean for the market? This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, keeping technical analysis short and sweet, and this is what it means for the market following previous history. If you watch my other videos, you already heard all about that. CTSI, shout out again to McClaw for entering, not on my financial advice, on my pure opinion. 0.08 cents more or less is the entry, and it does have a pretty high all-time high, all the way up there around 78 cents. Actually, it may be higher. It's higher than 78 cents, up at $1.79. So definitely a lot of room to run. Main thing is look at all this volume. We broke a major downward trend line. We are holding support. We are holding over that 200 EMA. If you have not entered, now would be your entry point, but it is not financial advice. IOTX. Whoa, tweezer bottom. Very bullish sign here, as we are probably going to be pushing back up towards that 200 EMA and the 0.34. If you wanted to enter, this is actually a pretty good entry point with the tweezer bottom holding this upward trend line, and we can start seeing some upward momentum for IOTX. Spell, building a bottom, moving up. We need to get over that 200 EMA as talked about. Aerodrome, similar to XRP and XLM, and breaking over a downward trend line. Not necessarily the best visual for the downward trend line, but Aerodrome does have some major potential. I'd be waiting to see a little bit more movement, a little bit of volume before entering into Aerodrome. Flare, major bullish movement, tested that 200 EMA, pushed way up. We saw this happen with QNT, and once we push up over this downward trend line, we can expect a further continuation to the upside for Flare, keeping in mind the 618 is up here at 3 cents, currently at 0.23. Compound. If you haven't entered Compound, now is again your entry. Anywhere within this $45 range is the best opportunity for that upward momentum, even if we get rejection on this downward trend line at around $51. That would be our third touch, and we could expect maybe a little pullback, a break towards the $61, and the all-time high is nearly 1,000. So if you have not entered and you got $45 you want to try and turn into 1,000, Compound is your go-to. QNT, same thing, man. It's the same thing. Consolidating, trying to hold with that 200 EMA. The 200 EMA is going to get tired of this and push this up towards this downward trend line. And once that is broken, we can expect that upward momentum. Myself, once it starts pulling up to around this previous high, around 170, I'm going to take some profit for the pullback, enter in a little bit lower if possible. However, if it does close above that area, it's definitely more bullish for QNT, and we can expect it pushing up towards the 220 area, which is when I would be pulling out some money, diversifying into other coins such as like XRP or something like BNT. BNT is at 73 cents, holding a nice bottom, trying to get some higher lows, keeping that 200 EMA very, very healthy and close. And we are most likely going to start forming upwards towards this downward trend line, getting the fourth touch, breaking it, and moving to a newer high. The all-time high for BNT is $20, way up here, but we are at 73 cents. So that's where the diversification, pulling out of QNT and putting into something like BNT, you could 20x something that we are expecting, maybe a 10 to 15x on top of whatever potential gains you gain from QNT, and tossing it over to something a little bit cheaper like BNT. XYO and DNT, very, very similar, and XYO is it's just getting fed up with this 200 EMA. Once it touches this downward trend line, 200 EMA, there's nothing really holding back XYO at all to first push up to at least 0.011. 0.086, and beyond that, this is roughly the fair value gap up here all the way to 0.013. Beyond that, it goes up pretty high, and we see in the past it has major spikes once it gets over that 200 EMA, major retracements, but then like death sentence for people who were selling and waiting for a better opportunity. It just has a major continuation up to this 0.043. XYO can go a lot higher than 0.043. The previous all-time high, I believe, was 25 cents. No, it was 8 cents. So to hit those all-time highs, I would expect potentially 16 cents as the outcome for XYO, but getting in at this absolute bottom at this opportunity is one of the better opportunities instead of buying at a higher price, waiting for a retracement. DNT is tired of the 200 EMA as well. Once it gets over that and this 0.03, it's got a long way to run as well, and we've seen it take off like no other in the past before, getting about 20x. Last one I'm bringing in is LCX. Jonathan Blake, you have been buying this since 24 cents or something like that, maybe even 40 cents. But I hope you are dollar cost averaging and buying near the bottom to try and ride that wave up to eliminate those losses that you have acquired in that downtrend. Right now it is looking very healthy. It's above the 200 EMA. Ultimately need to break that downward trend line and hold above that 200 EMA. Ideally above the 0.1563. We can expect the push to 0.17 cents. And then the next real resistance is up here around 27 to 28 cents. So double money for LCX. Definitely there is a way higher price point for this. So getting in at 14 cents to 15 cents is not a bad bet. That's it for this video. Like and subscribe if you have not, and references to trade some of these coins on MEXC in the description below, and you get 10 USDT free if you use that link. Good luck, have fun with it. I will see you on the next one.